the states. It's just obviously they bury it in different, either the Constitution or any of the amendments or wherever they have that reference for that stuff. But in Canada, I know where you can point to it, and even though it's not there, you don't stand under the corporate law in any jurisdictions. You can point to proof anywhere. Just make sure you distinguish you're not standing under it.
You know, and there's a lot of you guys, Chris, you're one of them, and other Chris in Las Vegas, you guys all have your inner circles of law people. And, you know, we can have Marcel back. We can do individual calls with Marcel to introduce his organization to all of these people so that everybody gets on the same path. I mean, we literally on this call tonight, we're scattered across the country.
Yeah.
We probably represent half the country right now.
And just to tie into what you're saying, Rhandi, and again with the program and that as well, you know, literally January 1st, our society, we're advertising worldwide that we're going to accept every complaint the public has for all government corporations pretending to be government worldwide. So within that, we're going to have a lot of work, right? And within that, we get gifts for all of it. So if anyone is interested who is passionate and you know Rhandi or you're in any of those circles, Rhandi, with your permission, or again, get a hold of us, and we can set up with Rhandi, if you're okay with that, we can set up training sessions. And again, anybody can be an advocate. We can train anyone at this process, and whoever actually prints the instant report that we get from the public, reads it, and adjusts our template is who gets the gift commission percentage, however you want to word it, direct to you. So within that, for just a simple letter against CFS, it's around $200. Out of that, you would be looking at about $50 in your pocket as the advocate, right, as a gift, non-taxable, and we have a privacy and non-disclosure agreement. So unless you tell us to tell somebody that we're giving you money, it's totally private, and we're outside the collection or outside of the taxation. We don't report to Revenue Canada. We're unregistered, unincorporated, so it's totally private, and because we have the contract, we couldn't comment anyway. So it gives you that privacy. But if you're applying for a home or something and you need to prove, you know, I have income, we can obviously do a statement. We're not hiding anything. It's just, again, you don't tell people where your assets are if you want to keep them.
So what he's saying is, you know, for those of you that have a passion in the law, they're going to advertise this worldwide, and if you want to get on board with them, just got to reach out.
Yeah, basically, like with how Rhandi and Peacemaker Society and 42action.org are teaming up, you can become a part of that worldwide committee that does the work of sticking up for people, and we can make it, we pay and gift you directly as part of that program, and you can and it's defined as an independent branch of our office, and you can do it from home. And we just
do you
forward
take
the
Bitcoin?
Email at this
pay in
point,
Bitcoin?
Like we would, I just don't know. Like, I'm familiar with Bitcoin. We've studied a lot. We just haven't set up accounts or anything, so we'd have to do a little administrative work on how to make that flow so it can happen in reality. But we do have online banking. We can accept e-transfers. We can accept all kinds of stuff. Anything through PayPal. You know, anything that's connected to online banking or PayPal, we have access to, no problem.
Okay. Any other questions?
Or check, money order, or of course cash, but don't think cash is bad.
Right. Exactly. All right, you guys, we were trying to wrap with Marcel before, but there was other questions. I want to make sure everybody gets their questions in. Comments.
And I'm loving this, so don't be shy. I just love smart people who are already like 98% of the way there, where it's just that last apple in the basket that makes it perfect for them. So
yeah, believe me, there's people, you know, just about every single person on this call is here because they have a fight going on. So
basically, if you've watched the movie The Hunger Games, think of this right now as the beginning of the Mockingjay video where she's calling everyone. Basically, what I'm planning on doing is we're going to be doing a video similar to that will bring people to the website, and then we're going to play this show so that it's ongoing recruiting, and we'll be promoting it everywhere. So again, if you're in any of these networks and you're passionate and you have a struggle, team up with us, because together they'll be a lot more intimidated than if you try and fight on your own. And you'll make some money at the same time, so you won't go broke fighting. We provide business with grassroots. Go ahead, sorry, yeah.
Now, what was the website that we're supposed to go to look at this stuff?
No problem. It's Peacemaker Society, so just the name of our society, .org. So PEACEMAKER Society, yeah.
Okay. Then can we mail you silver?
Can you mail us silver?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. We would accept it. Anything that's a commodity that can be whatever, just look up whatever the rates are for that. Or if you're going to do something that's a little out of the ordinary, give us a call so we can figure it out just to make sure it's accurate and whatever. But we'll accept whatever. I have no problem with any of that.
Okay.
Good question.
Anyone else? Chris, I'm going to go ahead and mute you unless you got any more.
All right.
Because there's some
No,
background.
I don't. Thank you.
Just talking with you, bro.
Yep.
Where did they go? There we go. Anyone else? Last chance. Okay, so you know how to reach Marcel direct. Marcel, thank you so much for coming on our call tonight, and we will definitely have you back. We have, as you come out with more things, you have some new campaigns and things coming out. I'd like you to come back on when you have your door-to-door thing, your
you bet.
The door hangers,
The
all
door
that kind of
hangers,
stuff.
for sure.
Yeah,
We're
so we
looking
definitely
about
want you back.
Yeah, we're looking at about 2-3 weeks for that. And Randy, just going forward, we're going to be working together a lot on a lot of things. So I'm pretty much at your disposal going forward. Anything you need, just let us know. And for the public, our staff will look after you guys. I have to kind of be a little bit behind the scenes because I have to be in meetings with people like Randy and that. But if you want to get involved, just come approach and know I am directly involved, like right a half a slipper behind. We care. We're legitimate. We're honest. There's no angles or downside to us. It's all voluntary. Anything that's a problem of the old systems, we literally had hundreds of experts come together and figure out how to make it right. We recognize if we didn't do it, that it might not get there just because there were some missing pieces for groups missing each other in that. But it's here now. We're teaming up with Randy. We got all these groups of people coming. So now just the individuals, come get on board. We have money for you. We have the exact recipe for what you need to do. You have support and you have people that care. And even if you're fighting a fight, if we can't be there beside you today, we'll at least be able to be an advocate and a witness. And if something's happening to you, we can raise a ton of public awareness, apply a lot of public pressure, and through a combination of all those things, and just study our stuff. If you learn all of those videos on YouTube, you will know how to protect yourself with the same skill that I do. And then we also have a Necessary Mind Training for Freedom playlist, still under Peace Maker Study, and that has people like Ron Paul, his farewell speech to Senate, has Think and Grow Rich, mastermind groups, psychology of selling, how to understand your psychological strengths and weaknesses, how to bridge them through other people, and just all that stuff. Those are all important skills. So the original content, Necessary Mind Training for Freedom, and just realize your life now is your project. You don't have to work for anyone else, and now it's just how do you get the resources, and that's just calling 204-926-8558. Membership's open, and that was my little car salesman.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And hopefully we'll hear from you in just a few weeks, like maybe after the first of the year.
For sure. Actually, I just finished revising that paperwork, so I'll send it to you within the next day or two, and just anytime give me a call and vice versa. You have an unlimited permission and right to bother me indefinitely. And it's
outstanding.
Thank you so much. I'm going to sign off, and just to everyone listening, thank you so much. This has been a very warm, friendly experience. I didn't know how under the grill fire I was going to get, but you know what? You're all wonderful people. No one really grilled me or came out from a negative position, which just means you guys are all on the right page, on the right path. So I know a lot of you are fighting stuff, anything from CFS to police. A lot of it's serious. Know that we understand the seriousness, but within that there is hope. So just get in touch, and together we'll work together. And I'm going to be quiet. Randy, thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. I'm going to hang up, and just anything you need, let us know.
All right, sounds good. Have a good night. Thank you.
You too, dear. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so anybody want to talk about anything that's been going on? Update us. Dave, Gloria, Keith, anything with your cases?
Daniel, could you tell Marcel's number again?
Hang on here. Who wrote it down? I don't know if I call on a different number, you guys. Hold on just a second.
I didn't catch it as he was saying it too,
Sometimes he talks pretty fast.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one he gave out on public. I just have like a private one, so I don't know what the public one was. You probably have to go back to hear it on the replay. I apologize.
Well, somebody's got the website, because I thought I had his website up and my computer flashed and it went away.
It was 204-926 something.
What was it, Dave?
I wrote it down. It's two.
Yeah, the number he gave out was 204. Okay. 926. Okay. 8558. 204-296-8558.
That's correct, and the hours were Monday to Friday, 9 to 5,
Eastern Standard Time?
926.
Or 9 to 6?
204-926-8558.
Thank you. 8558. And the website was peacemakersociety.org.
Is that a Canadian or a United States phone number?
That's the United States number. Isn't that Florida's? I didn't. He's talking about in Canada, though. But I only caught about 45 minutes. It was pretty amazing to me. Yeah, blew me away. Contacted. Yeah, well, see, the one thing that I was, like I said, we know the difference of, you know, what the Crown is compared to what the United States separation is with the Constitution and our treaties. So I'm not arguing the point. He's on the right path of what he's saying that needs to be corrected, because this goes all the way back to the Treaty of 1213.
204 is Manitoba, and the Treaty of 1213, I think, is the Unum Pactum Singularis.
That's when the king gave everything to the Pope for his sins.
Yeah, that's one contract.
How the hell we're living for paying for another man's sins. I've got the articles up of my factual research that I've done for 35 years up on it.
I thought somebody died and gave their blood for our sins without the Pope.
No, that's the wars that we fought for our freedom, at least on United States soil, because we fought for our freedom here, so we didn't have to pay taxes. We didn't have to pay the king's royalties. You know, because we're totally separate than the rest of the world, because we're the only place on the planet that has a treaty that separates us from taxes and exonerations or anything, is the United States. The United States, so long as we're stayed free, the rest of the world's free. That's why his information is going through their banks and their structure, opening up for their administrative rules, because a lot of the administrative rules, when they try to pass it here in the United States, that's where they had to redo them. And some of you guys have done the research, I know. Some of you guys I know I talked to and stuff. So the point is that without the United States keeping our direct freedom instead of correlating with the Crown, okay, the Crown has no rights here. We've already proven that many times, and so does the Supreme Court. So that's where we have to stand to protect the land here, and then once we protect the land here, the rest of what he's doing is going to fall in place. I don't know if you guys can see that point or not. You there? Did I get hung up on?
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good.
No, I'm just bringing out a point, because like I said, I've been going through this, and when we step out of the movie and we look at the production, because we're understanding the production of the movie right now. Let me put it that way from a movie point of view. So we're understanding the production. Now the thing, instead of blowing the cork on the champagne bottle, now the point is that if people if elected public service start literally making a public amends to the people, turn over their USIP numbers over to the people and resign. And that means if they only get 60% of their retirement, at least they have to make the amends. They made an amends. It's public. All right? But at least they get 60%, so that way at least they can survive. Because some of them and I have to defend someone. It's like most of us were educated until our eyes went off, until the bulb went over our head. We didn't know any better. So we have to show the same courtesy and respect to those who have committed things. And if they don't want to do that, then we take them in court, and then we sit there and put them on tribunal. You know, but at least that's the one point about compassion. Either we have to have compassion or we don't. And I sure the hell don't want to go back to the Viking days. I'd much rather have compassion so our children don't have to relive this hell. You know, as you can see my point.
Do you have any comments, Chris?
Go ahead. Anybody got a comment, please?
No.
You know, because, I mean, this is the point that, you know, right now we have the knowledge, and how do we do it without blowing the cork off? Now it's like I got a video up with the police chief telling me if I travel, if I don't pay the king's wages, I'm going to jail and stuff. He said it. Okay? And he knows, and we both understand what's going on. Okay? But it's like I said to him, well, it's your liability and stuff. All right? But the point is that he's opening his eyes and others are opening their eyes. So at least let's give them the benefit of doubt. And if they don't, because, I mean, I'm the first guy who would be out there, you know, I'd be the first guy with the rope in my hand, but at that point, I'd much rather than have to go with Marcel. Much rather give him compassion and the benefit of the doubt first before that happens. You know, we've got military equipment in our communities right now. So the military, the government brought us all put our communities with the police departments. Remember, we own the police departments. It's our equipment.
Yes, but the feds are staging for a future attack by the Central Soviet-style government's forces, which are TSA and DHHS and FEMA and all these other agency actors, who are, not to mention the new Black Panthers, and a group of the government's troops that are going to infiltrate and put those weapons to use.
Doctrinized has been living under this crap administrative rules since World War II. You know, because we never had this in our country before.
I thought we'd been at war since the Lincoln.
Huh?
Since Lincoln and the alien what is it? The caught me off surprise on that. But since Lincoln, we've been under martial law, Executive Order 1.
But martial law only technically and lawfully under their structure, the corporation, when they founded it, applies to elected and public servants. Does not apply to lawful Americans of the bloodline going back to 1850 of the Civil Rights Act.
Well, I agree with your postulation. However, the 6 billion rounds of multiple ammunition they buy out are not for all the federal agents.
Right? We know that, and that's the other point. And you know that we've got to look at all this structure, what they're doing, and what's going on, because they're going to have to make a decision. Because if the UN decides to walk in and play this trip, that's why people are in contact with the UN and everybody's explaining things. All right? Because of miseducation, so long as we protect this country and start standing up, is the only way it's going to happen in a medium where we make sure that on the local levels that your police chiefs, your local sheriff do their jobs. Okay, that means you have to go to the county commissioner meetings, the city meetings, and you file on these people and you tell them, this is what we want you to do, your job, you're paid. Because the stocks and bonds, the interest of the 1933 Banking Act, is already paying their salaries. All right, the money's guaranteed by their structure. Go ahead.
I wish you luck telling the sheriff what to do, since he works directly for the county commissions czars by the controlling language of the contract, subject to the Board of Commissions czars, where he separates himself from the men and makes them private foreign corporate mercenaries, enforcing and generating revenue for the corporation, not serving the people.
Yes, that is correct. You are, and that's the point of getting him to understand that he's supposed to be under the people, because he's the only law enforcement. He's the only man that has law in that county of each county. We already have that system, is making sure our sheriff is properly educated. The other point is recall him and put somebody in office in your local area that's willing to stand up for it. You know? Because the whole thing is the United States was forced into this democracy crap. Okay, there was no such thing as democracy in this country. It's always been a republic. You always have to pay honor. You know, if you do a harm, you have no victim, no crime. You have to pay the dues. All right, we didn't have all this problem until they started bringing all this crap in the Black Law Dictionary from England to this country. Okay, well, everybody knows that history, but it's just like, we've got to get it so the sheriff understands his duty. We've got to get it so the local police departments understand their responsibility. Because if they're contracted to the city as tax collectors for the mayor and city council to pay off their little parties and their little projects that they bill us for, okay, that they want to bill us through our property taxes that are unlawful, okay, and I've already proven this because I filed in Lincoln County. That's why they had me arrested one day for filing on them. We know it's all unlawful. Nobody else has been filing on them. The point is, we all have to file on them, make them aware of where their positions are. All right, let them know that they're not.
Edward, what did you file on them?
Oh, what I filed on them was property tax fraud on the tax collectors, the county commissioners, and the judges.
Okay, so how did they respond? What happened? Are you still paying tax?
That's how they responded. They arrested me for it.
Okay. So
and then I was out of jail. It took what was it, $2,500 bail for me to get out. Now, I have a heart condition. I'm severely disabled. I have 17 blown discs. I got a crushed in back by the cops. You know, my neck's titanium. I've been beat up by them. You know, I've been through a lot with them, okay, for speaking out. And then I'm already up on the internet. But the bottom line comes out on this, is that we need other people to start speaking out on these issues in your communities. Well, like I've been saying, if you got kids, make sure your kids are watching these videos, not playing video games. Unplug them from the devil's cord. Put them on God's cord. Get them the education. You know, we have the solutions to the problem. When I served them was on property tax fraud. You have my email, don't you?
Send me something. I'm not sure. Just send me something to support at 42 Action. Just say this is Edward.
Thing is, you have my email, don't you?
Can you hear me?
Do you have my email?
That's what I said. Send me something at support at 42 Action.
I'm going to see what I filed on them. What I filed on.
Yeah.
I filed with the governor of my state. I filed with the House and Senate on my state, with the Treasury Department. Okay, so I'll send you what I filed, and I'll send you the other stuff, too. That's why I have all this stuff on Facebook, my Facebook wall going back, because all my filings have been on there for the last 2.5 years, on my wall.
Okay, great.
You know, because, I mean, I'm making sure everything is public, what I've been doing, because I'm bringing this to light, because, like I said, in our contracts that we have with the British government and Canada and the Crown with Washington, D.C., we're the only place that outside of the 50 states, all right, that can't be touched. The 50 states are not part of Washington, D.C. They're the federal government that's supposed to work in commerce for the rest of the world. They're not supposed to have their tentacles in our states. The only reason and how they got their tentacles in our states over the last 60 years was when they started really, well, actually since the 1930s, after the Banking Act went, when they started developing properties and putting in roads. And see, the taxes at that point were not that much, so they were borrowing against future taxes off of the taxes that they were going to collect for the gas tax. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as they're borrowing these monies, all right, the interest is going up because they're not paying the loans. So they're billing this to you and I, the taxpayers, through excise diesel tax and gas tax, which is unlawful. Because we didn't sign those contracts. You and I did not sign those contracts. They're claiming my birth certificate is a signature for that contract. Well, it can't be because I didn't know the contract. You know, as most people didn't until they're 18. That's why I've been fighting and signing this myself since I was 15. But when you start realizing the contract, so they're coming to you saying you owe us for these people. That's where I was saying if you're a registered voter, you're saying that I owe these taxes, or I'm guilty to pay the dead man's soul taxes. If you're a registered voter, you're guaranteeing them to go to the New York Stock Exchange, to value your assets and your homes and your resources, to ask for more money as a registered voter. That's like a marriage certificate. We got a marriage certificate now. Now we can take that, put it on the New York Stock Exchange with your birth certificate and the bonds, and we could ask for more money because we want to do more development. That's called progress. We don't want progress in our country. Because if we have too much progress, how are we going to eat? No deer, no elk, no land, no mushrooms, no fish. I mean, all of our food is getting so altered right now. We've got to take what we've got and start putting it back so this way we can have natural. That's why I was glad to hear Washington State pass a law up there where they don't have to plant fruit and vegetables on our highways and byways. And I don't think it should be a state initiative like that. I think everybody in our community should be planting seeds in their parks and stuff. If you were planting seeds in your park and there was food around, who's fighting for food? Yes, I still will go buy my A1 steak sauce and my ketchup and my, condiments. Okay, but the other resources that we got it, how come we're forced to pay somebody else from a foreign country to feed us? And we have the environment to grow food here. We didn't adapt to what we had here. We had it all changed for us in the last 70 years. So because they've changed all this structure. It's like 1924, the law passed, congressional law passed, that in any area that was no housing development, it was public land. That's why they have these public meetings that say nobody showed up because they could get rid of public land. They can't do that lawfully, and illegally, even legally, they technically can't do it. because the people have a right to say it, because nobody's safe for it. They cannot move without the people's statements. All right, that's the situation. Because if we go by rules of Robert Rules of Order, remember that came from England too. Okay, so when you go by Robert Rules of Order, you play that back onto them. That's where Marcel and these guys are doing it wonderfully. They picked up on it because we have to nail them from their side, but also too, in our soil, we have to protect our rights. Because if you're not protecting your ownership of your land rights, so when it does go, the cops are supposed to be protecting you and your land. Technically, that's what an officer is supposed to be doing. Okay, but when you're in the de facto system, you know, that's why we got the rape, robbing, and pillaging going on. And if we get our local public servants to start acting their jobs, because when your community, sue the mayor, file on the mayor a recall, okay, recall the mayor. And then once the mayor is recalled, then you file the charges on them. Okay, and once you start doing that in your communities, I guarantee you this country's going to straighten up in a hell of a hurry. Because
what's your Facebook information?
Saying too, you've got to nail them on their structure or the way they've written their rules. Because if they don't go by the rules, and I'm dealing that with Oregon, because they're not going by the rules, and I'm still fighting them. Okay, and they're not going by their rules, and they're realizing that their rules, that they're all in trouble. And, you know, because they've known about the criminal activities on me for 10 years. They know how my family was destroyed after I recalled the school board. Because when I recalled the school board, I mean, it was over 61%. I recalled the entire school board. Never been done in the history before. Okay? I've been in recalls around the state that I've been involved with, that every time I was in, they recalled them.
Edward, this is good. What's your Facebook page for everyone so that they can go look at your paperwork?
Edward Johnston Facebook. And I just started a Facebook site tonight called the United States of America's Elected and Public Employees, or Elected and Public Servants Oversight Committees.
Could you say that again?
Okay, it's the United States of American, United States of American Elected and Public Employees Oversight Committee. And I just put it up. I'll put a link on it because I haven't finished the information on the deal. I just started it tonight. It's like this was supposed to happen tonight with all this stuff. And I'll say it, God works in mysterious ways. But, you know, this is the one thing, is that when you're energy power and you want the solution to the problem, we've got the solution to the problem. Now the people that are all involved in this call, we have the education. Let's take the knowledge and let's make sure that these people are publicly shamed with what they have done to you. Okay, that's what I'm doing right now. I mean, you know, they're freaking out because, like I said, I'm all over Facebook. I email the senators. Make sure your senators, your congressmen, the newspapers, all get your stuff. I don't care if they don't respond to you. But you'll be surprised sometimes when you email them, you see a story that they were going to run one way. They might run it one way, and then they might come back and change the story. But you might not understand the words that they're using, and I don't like using the word understand because I don't stand underneath nobody. But when you might not see their point of view in the words that they're saying, and that's where words are so powerful that all of us are learning by the words are so powerful. Okay, and it's the way you write your words in your document. And the one thing too that everybody should be aware about in the United States of America, lawful Americans cannot be held accountable for their writings because if they are, they have to explain it. So you can't be arrested and cornered for it. You know, they have to form a quorum, sort of like what the House of Senate does when they invite all their agencies there to testify. All right, they're supposed to form a quorum and bring you in to testify and prove it. All right, then if you can't prove it, then they might arrest you. Then they might be able to do what they were able to do to you. But they can't do anything to you. I think that's under tribunal law of the church. So, I mean, you know, it's when all the pieces of the puzzle, people are getting it. That's why I'm so impressed with so many people and the angles that they've got, and it's all come together. You know, and that's the one thing with Marcel. I would like him to learn to get the QSIP numbers, and not only that, the OPP, the Public People's Trust, that only applies to Americans in all my research and understanding and what I've talked about to different people in the field when I've had doors slammed on me. You know what I mean? When I started bringing up certain things, and then I had doors slammed on me, and sometimes I might get a package in the mail. Oh shit, that's interesting. Okay, and the point is not making out shamefully, but it's educating these people so we're not at the war. That means sit down with your local police chief, not by yourself, with 4 or 5 people. You know, don't go to the restaurant. Go out and sit in a park, a city park. It's public. Bring a camera. Make it public. Let's talk to the police chief. Let me bring these evidence to you. Okay? Make it so it's not a closed door feeling where he's feeling, you know, where nobody can feel their closed door in. Okay? You bring them out. You want to bring them out in the open, and this is the one way to bring them out in the open. Sit them down, discuss these things with them. And make sure that, you know, not only you, but somebody else in the community sits down and go meet the public servant. All right? Sits down and talks to them. So this way they know who to trust and who not to trust. Because they're in the same boat you and I are in, and trust me, I grew up in the public, around the Public Employees Union. You know, I spent all my life, one way or the other, around the Public Employees Union. You know, and I mean, I know the system on the outside. And the inside mechanism, they are terrified, but they have to make sure that the outside feels safe for them, too. And that's where Marcel was coming from. Okay, so you want to make sure that you can bring them out and talk to them and do these things, because this is the only way it's going to do it. I mean, I'm working with other people right now. I'm putting advertisings in the paper. I got shocked that the paper ran my one deal on QSIP numbers and the bonds and stocks on the judges and the whole works. Because I claimed my rights in the paper, and this is not the first time I've done it. I've done it many times in the past, but this is the first time I've done it in this manner, which it was wonderfully put together. And I had to add a couple of things and just to seal it, because the one thing is knowing how to seal these things that are open. Because you have to put their administrative rules or the Supreme Court laws into effect to seal them. You know, and the one thing about Supreme Court administrative rules, they cannot change when they do those type by a jury.
How do we look at your paperwork on what you just said?
Huh?
How do we look at your paperwork of what you just mentioned?
Let me, when you send me an email, all right, I'm going to give you my email address out. I normally don't like to do this because I'm trying to get some paperwork done myself. Actually, I have a couple pages up. I have some of it on, you can type in my name on Yahoo, okay, Ed Johnston, Toledo, Oregon, and just type in talk shows, and you'll see my talk shows out there. Most of my talk shows have my documents on them, with the laws and the structure.
Johnson?
And his last name is Johnston, Johnston, so Ed Johnston. And on Facebook, he's Edward Johnston.
You see, I'm using my given name, you know. I mean, I have a name that I used to be known by a different name growing up, you know. So, but, you know, the thing is that the education that we need to make sure each other have is so that way we're educating the public servants. Because remember, they're going after taxes, trying to put in new roads and that structure. 2004, I ran for mayor of my town. I put in a thing for